Hi there, I'm Tracy.
And I'm James.
And we're the France travel couple. On this episode, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, the wine we loved in France.
Yes, we're going to go over, first of all, a little introduction about all the different wine regions you'll find in France, some of the specialties there that we focused on when we were there. Talk about buying wine at supermarkets in France with a little tip and what to expect there. Then we'll talk about really all the wine experiences that we had in France. So it ranges from the wine tours that we experienced, a fantastic wine bar you can't miss if you're going to the south of France, wine tasting that we had in Burgundy as well, and just generally some smart budget wine tip that we have at restaurants that I noticed there. It's worth looking out for. So start off with the wine regions of France, at least for the ones that we visited, and to talk a bit about some of them, just to give you a preview for if you're planning your trip and getting ready to head over. So this is kind of done in the order of the way we traveled through France. Now in Paris, much like the food, you can actually simply find the best wine and alcohols from throughout France there. It's kind of a mix of everything, so it's not just a particular one, type of region. It's really, you'll find all kinds there. So feel free to have at it and experience what you want to there and try some different things there. But in Normandy up north, where we went after being in Paris, wine's actually not what it's known for. It's known for its local cider. Cider is just a great thing to have with a galette or crepe, and just also on its own. We bought some from supermarkets as well. And the other thing that's very particular to the area is because it's known for its apples as well. Cider is the Calvados, and Calvados is a liqueur that you would have there. It's a nice, oftentimes after dinner drink. Now in the Loire Valley, what we learned was incredible there. That was the quality of the sparkling white wines, particularly in the Vouvray area. The locals would actually deem many of them to be on par or even better than champagne. So we all hear about champagne here. We know it's costly. But there, and I think it's only really, we don't know about as much the Loire Valley sparkling whites because they don't export them. So really something to experience if you enjoy wine, if you're going to the region. So the kinds of wine you're going to have there, there's delicious Sauvignon Blanc, but I believe many of the sparkling are actually Chenin Blanc. If you want it red there, Cabernet Franc, in particular to the Loire Valley region. Once you start going south, which we did after Loire Valley, we went to Bordeaux. Once you get down there, it's all about the deep, rich red wines, really, in my opinion at least. And including Merlot is one of the primary grapes you'll find there. Next to Bordeaux, a little to the east, is the Languedoc region, which is actually one of the biggest wine-producing regions, I think, in the world, not to mention France. A big part of that area is the Corbière, which mostly, again, is about reds because you're in the south of France. The kinds of grapes, Carignan, Grenache, Vedre, Syrah. This is where you'll start hearing about the GSM blend of these types. And Syrah is, for others, Syrah is the northern name of the grape that you may have heard called Shiraz. It's made in the southern part of the world. Provence, that's where we head to next. The region that we particularly focused on there was the Chateauneuf-du-Pape region, where it's mostly about Grenache, and I think, if I recall correctly, to have certain wines there, you must have Grenache in, and usually a minimum quantity of Grenache grape. So. Also, GSM blends you'll find there as well. The Côte d'Aron region features many reds with those similar grapes, and also some rosé can be found in that region.
Yes.
As well as some good rosés to look out for in Provence. So. And finally, in Burgundy, Burgundy's all really about, I think, at least the two types that we heard the most about was Pinot Noir and Beaujolais. The two that you hear about the most, as far as reds go, at least. And now you're starting to get back up the north, so good whites. Chablis is what you'll find there. The Chablis is often what makes the wines from Chardonnay, I believe.
Right.
So, so like I say, just generally, further down the south, look for those bold reds. More to the north, look for those crisp whites and even cider as well. So, you want to talk a bit about buying wine at supermarkets?
Sure. Sure. A lot of the wine we bought in France was at supermarkets, usually the discount supermarkets like Lidl and Aldi. So tip about buying wine at the stores. In France, it's tough to find a cheap bottle that will be really good quality. We've been to Italy and we found it much easier to find fairly inexpensive wines there. But in France, where prices are generally higher, you might need to spend upwards of 8 to 10 euros as opposed to, say, 3 or 4 euros, which is what you might spend in Italy and other less expensive European countries. So some wine experiences that we had, and would recommend.
We had a few good ones, yes.
Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Well, I'll start off. We had 2 big tours that we did there. One of them was in the Loire Valley. In the Loire, I kind of mentioned before, we focused on the sparkling whites. We asked our guide, we said we want to do sparkling whites. So we booked a half-day tour, and he came and picked us up in where we were staying, which is in Amboise, and took us first to a small family-owned vineyard in Vouvray called Domaine Le Capitaine. I'll link to that down in the description. Some tremendous wines there. We get to see the real detail going on in this operation. We got to see their cellar, as well as the vineyard itself outside. And we tasted and really got to enjoy some of these wines. It's fantastic.
So it's the level of sugar you have. It means it's brut or demi-sec.
Okay.
Depending the level of sugar you have.
So when you say demi-sec, that means a little bit of sweeter. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The good thing is the wine are good temperature in this place.
Yeah.
And I think the proprietor ended up showing up there late at the end of our little tour there. And, it was a nice person. So we ended up buying a bottle there, just because we liked it so much.
And it was inexpensive.
Yeah,
it was
bad.
I can't remember exactly. Maybe like 10 euros?
Something like that. Yeah, not bad. Not bad considering the quality. And again, it was really, Champagne is from Champagne region. This is like as good as some of the champagnes I've ever tasted. So it's really nice. It's there we actually learned that the smaller the bubbles, I think, the smaller the bubbles in your
the better
sparkling
they
white,
say
the better
it
the
is.
quality.
Yeah.
So interesting to look for that.
Yeah.
After that, we went to Mont-Louis-sur-Loire, a little town there. Our guide took us to, where we saw a different setup, which is kind of a cooperative wine producer that handles the bottling and marketing for a number of local vineyards. And where we went to is called Mont-Louis Cave des Producteurs. And we were able to sample a tremendous amount of wines there. And our guide, he had some fantastic local goat cheese there.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Really tremendous compliment to a nice sparkling white wine. Yeah.
So, which we learned. So goat cheese, sparkling wine.
Yeah, they go
together
perfectly, especially when you're in the Loire Valley. Yeah, of course. So, as I mentioned, we ended up buying a nice, reasonably priced bottle from actually each from the co-op and from the first domain that we were at, and it's something that actually I recommend doing. Talking about the supermarket and how tough it can be finding a bottle, you're going to guess there a little bit, right? In terms of what you're buying. Well, if you're already tasting something you really enjoy when you're on a tour, and the prices are reasonable, and they usually are because you're buying right from the vineyard, you should probably buy yourself 1 or 2, at least to cover yourself for the next, if you want to drink some later that evening or the next day. So, worth doing. Now, this tour, if you're ever in the Loire Valley, we highly recommend checking this guy out. Our tour guide, he was named Vincent Delaby. He was tremendous.
He was excellent.
We only paid a price to be part of a group tour, but it turned out nobody else was there because we were in shoulder season, sort of there in early April. So we ended up being the only ones. We got a private tour, and it's fantastic. So we highly recommend it. It's Vino Loire is his company, and I'll link to that down below. You can check that out. We talk about our second tour that we
sure. So this was in Provence. We've heard incredible things about Chateauneuf-du-Pape region. We hadn't at the time actually tried Chateauneuf-du-Pape before this time. So we booked a half-day tour for the 2 of us, and it ended up in a group with 3 other people. So there was 5 of us all together. They were from Canada, I think,
from the States, I thought.
Or the States?
Maybe from...
I can't remember. Our tour guide, his name was Benoit Vincent. He was also very good, highly experienced. He knew what he was talking about. He told us lots of great stories and lots of background about the local wines there, and a history surrounding the region. His wine tour was called Avignon Prestige Tour, and so you'll have a link to that as well. We started out our tour with an interesting producer that had a little museum included, and we saw
some of the vineyards first. He drove us through some.
Oh, right.
Vineyards. Yeah, we saw that.
That's right, in Chateauneuf-du-Pape region.
Yeah, some of the rocky soil. It's very, very hard soil, actually, which leads to, I think.
Right, which was something interesting because we didn't know, who knew, that Chateauneuf-du-Pape in particular, it's all about very rocky soil.
Because everything comes from the ground inside the tree and make a wonderful perfume. That's small production. So we don't make exportation. You must come here to find here no place. So if you have to buy something you sure you never find in your country.
Our first stop was at the place where the museum was included. Yeah. And it had the curved bottle that most people may know about with the Chateauneuf-du-Pape. That's where they had that. It was called La Fiole du Pape. Is that right? Fiole du Pape at the Maison Brat.
Maison Brat, that's what it is. Both they produce there and it's like got a little museum there. So kind of cool.
So we learned there about the wine, that there is no vintage printed on it because they blend wines of the last 10 years. Yeah. So in order to get highly consistent flavor. So we absolutely loved this wine. And here in Canada, you can buy Chateauneuf-du-Pape for what, like $40-ish?
$40, yeah, something
a
like
bottle.
That, yeah.
We got a bottle there for like 17 euros.
18 euros, something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was, we had to buy it. It was absolutely incredible. And Benoit's tour gave us a surprise stop at...
Well, before that, though, we walked to a couple other domains there.
Oh, right, yes.
Yes.
That's right. One of which was Domaine de Rue, which we had some tremendous wines that were a little bit more pricey, a little bit more expensive than we wanted to pay, as well as Chateau Lanerth, which is very high-end.
Yeah.
Very high-end. We tried some incredible wines there, but, you know, for our taste, it was, even at the vineyard, it was probably one of the best wines we had ever tasted, but it was, you know, 50 euros. So
very pricey.
Yeah, it was very
I think
pricey.
maybe more than that, yeah. But yeah.
And then his tour, tour included a surprise stop at a local fancy chocolatier, where we were given free samples, some very nice local chocolate that actually had, Chateauneuf-du-Pape in the chocolate.
That's right.
So yeah, it was quite delicious.
Yeah. So those were our tours. I highly recommend the tours. Again, we booked half-day tours for each of the locations. And plenty, I think, and the guides do a great job covering a lot of ground, so you see a lot there. Very cool. I think it's worth doing if you enjoy wine and all want to see a little bit about it. At least one tour. We enjoyed two, and in fact, we got kind of one and more northern, you kind of Loire Valley and one in the south. Very different kinds of tours for wine too.
Yeah, very different
wines. Worth it, I think. Really worth it. Enjoyable. Another wine experience we got to mention. I think it's probably your favorite.
Definitely.
Maybe your favorite place in all of France afterwards.
Yes.
In Bordeaux, when we were in that city, while we didn't go on any tours there, though we've heard, there's legendary things that people talk about, some incredible quality wines in the region, we found a way to experience the wine region quite nicely. And that's going to a certain wine bar one evening. We read about this, and it's called Bar à Vin, and again, we'll link to it down below. Here we tasted some of the really incredible high-quality Bordeaux wines at incredibly reasonable prices for glasses of wine out. The research we did before showed that it was actually a government-subsidized... It's either
government-subsidized or vineyard. Maybe the wine producers subsidized. I'm not quite sure.
But somehow...
It's crazily subsidized.
Yeah, for the quality of wines, the price per glass is actually quite reasonable. You get some in there for like $2.50 or €3 a glass that are incredible.
It went up to but the most expensive was even like €6 or €7 a glass. Like it wasn't.
The most, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and that's when you're trying some really incredible wines.
Yeah. So,
And it
needless
was
to
all
say,
by the glass.
yeah, needless to say, we were there for a few hours once
Yeah.
we were there. Had a nice little charcuterie plate with it as well. But yeah, it's something that we highly recommend. I think
Definitely.
if you're going to the south of France, even a tour is probably fine. Stopping into the city of Bordeaux and staying a night just to go there and experiencing the bar of that.
And lastly, in Beaune, in the Burgundy region, that was kind of we didn't do a tour there either, but we did do a tasting session at a smaller cave in Beaune called Cellier de la Cabiote Cab. And you'll link to that as well, where we got to try some Burgundy wines for about a reasonable €10 per person.
Yeah, not bad. I think it was five wines we got to try.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So of course, Pinot Noir. That's where Pinot Noir wines were flowing, as well as some nice crisp Chablis wines. While we didn't decide to buy any wines there because we had recently purchased some Chateauneuf-du-Pape that we wanted to enjoy, we then headed down to a little restaurant near the Central Square in Bonn called Le Lion, and we enjoyed several glasses of some beautiful Chablis on a nice weekday afternoon before dinner.
Yeah. Now here's the tip actually that I found. I discovered this and I had to take a picture of it and I want to note it for you. It's something to watch out for. Actually, something to watch out for anywhere, but we noticed it in this restaurant in France. You got to look at the board, and if you're gonna, so we had a few glasses, obviously, so we could have got a bottle, but in reality, check the prices before ordering, and we noticed that when you look at the price to volume, compare, what you're paying. We're accustomed to the idea that you get by higher volume, you're going to get a better price.
Yeah,
it's not always the case, and you should really check that out. So in this case, if you look at the menu there, for us, a bottle, would contain 5 glasses typically in terms of what the glass there, 15 CLs that they had stated on the menu at least for, and it was a good sized glass. So I believe that it was probably 15 CLs they were serving to us. So would it had 5 glasses. To get the 5 individual glasses, pay for those instead, it was actually cheaper than buying a bottle. So it made no sense for us to do that. We just bought glasses as we went, drank as we went, and ended up being better off for it. So always check that. It's no guarantee that just because there's a bigger volume available at the bottle, it's going to be worth the price. So but we really enjoyed our time in France and the wines were always something we were looking to experience in the right way. We again encourage when you're in France, when it comes to food or wine, to experience it very locally. You're going to get the best quality that way. You're going to experience it in a unique way. And doing it with a tour in a couple places, I think, is also a very, very cool experience in France. They're not cheap all the time, the tours in France. I will say that. It can get a little pricey, but France is a little more expensive generally as far as European countries go. So it's definitely worth the experience, especially if it's a one-time thing for you, just to enjoy it. So.
100%.
Well, thanks for watching this video on the wines we enjoyed in France. Be sure and check out another video where we talk about all the different food that we enjoyed in the different regions of France. And be sure and subscribe so you can see all of our videos. We show our travels throughout the country. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.